Hello and welcome to the Kristin Carrera podcast. I am Kristin. Welcome back if you've been following along. And if you are new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and follow along. Stay up to date on my personal journey. I will be documenting soon my 30-day challenge on the Lion Diet Challenge starting October 1st. And any tips or any questions that people have, I try my best to answer them here on my podcast. So welcome. And today I wanted to talk about, it seems like I got a lot of feedback and about my first week on the carnivore journey. I talked to you about journaling, journal everything when starting a new diet, any diet that you're on, because this is a way for you to go back and reflect and see exactly what may be causing some of the health issues that you may be having. This is how I found out that I have an intolerance to bone broth because of the high histamines. I can't eat pineapple because it triggers my anxiety and my inflammation. And I can't eat certain pork because it makes me nauseous. So this is how I found all that out. So I highly recommend that if you are starting the Lion Diet Challenge, either get a journal. I am very old school. I love to handwrite my things in a journal. And my husband makes fun of me because you have notes on your phone and you can just use that. So lately, the last, I would say almost 2 weeks, I've been journaling on my phone. Because it is easier to go back and find things because you can control find and you can't quite do that in your journal. So I've been doing that, even though I still really like to handwrite it, because I wanted to see how I was doing with the way that I've been eating the last 2 weeks, compared to now when I go to start the carnivore. That way I have a little bit of data and a little bit of information to share with you on how I was doing before and after, because the days roll by and you kind of forget that you may have been nauseous one day out of like the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? So, or that you may have gotten one small migraine or you had a stomach issue. Like you might forget what day that was. What did you eat? You're not going to remember all that unless you journal. So that is my tip of the day. Journal. So I went down with you guys my first 7 days. If you have not seen that video, go check it out. The first week was a roller coaster, and reading it back to you out loud, I realized how much bone broth I was eating the first week and wondering why my eyes were so dry and itchy. I literally have it written down. And as I'm reading it to you, I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, Kristin, it was the bone broth. I didn't see it sooner, but I didn't quite correlate it together. I didn't put it together because I have suffered from allergies, seasonal allergies, allergies from dust when I clean since I was little. So I didn't quite put it together, but now going back and looking and reading my journal to you, it is amazing that I did not notice it sooner. So that's why I recommend that you write things down. So today we're going to go through week 2 of my carnivore journey. So we're going to start with day number 8. Day number 8, back on January 8th, I woke up with itchy eyes, woke up tired, but went back to sleep. I slept, I went to bed late around 12:15 in the morning, and my alarm went off at 5:45. I did wake up and I got my yoga done. My body felt sore and stiff, so I did the roller and I had small coffee, and I did add a little bit of erythritol, so I wasn't quite 100% carnivore at this time. For breakfast, I went out to eat. So week number 2, I went out to eat for the first time. I do remember that. I met up with a girlfriend. We hadn't met in a long time. And even though I had just started the carnivore diet, we had been trying to meet up since like her birthday. Then my birthday came and she got sick. And so I said, okay, I'm going to look at the menu, see if I can order something. So I saw that they had eggs and things like that. So I took the chance and we went to Crema Gourmet. This place, I remember, was phenomenal with making sure the girl went to the back to ask the chef to make sure that the things were not cooked in a seed oil. I told her that I had allergies to a seed oil and that I can only have the egg and the smoked salmon on the side, just cooked in salt. And I did have a coffee that day. I remember I have it here. I had cream cheese on the side and I had a cappuccino, no sugar, but I did have it with some milk because they didn't have heavy cream. Looking back, I got a couple comments on this when I posted about it back then that I should have just done half and half because at least that kind of has, I guess, more of the cream. But looking back now, I might have just had like a black coffee. But it is what it is. It's what I had. For lunch, I had half a ribeye, and for dinner, I had 2 steak pieces from a restaurant, fritanga, with a half a piece of the fried cheese. That night I had itchy eyes. My bowel was super watery after dinner. And so I will say this, I know now that I cannot order from that restaurant anymore. This was not due to the breakfast one because I've been there again and I was fine. It was due to the fritanga because there's something cooked in their meat, even though it should be grilled. There's something. So I thought that it was probably the fried cheese. I figured the fried cheese was probably cooked in a seed oil. And so that affected me, which it probably is. But I then have ordered, after this time, I ordered another time for fritanga, and I'm sure that I'll have it here somewhere, that I just did not do well. And I started to feel nauseous and feel really sick after eating there. So I don't order from them anymore, which is very sad because I used to really, really love their food. But in a way, I kind of don't miss it because when I did have their steak, it was with gallo pinto and the fried cheese and maduros, and it's like this little coleslaw on top with a little spicy salsa. And all of that together mixed up tastes delicious. So just having the meat and not being able to order just for the meat really is not a big deal to me because I'm not really missing the whole thing, which I was no longer eating. So day number 9, let's move on. Day number 9, I woke up at 12:40 in the morning, itchy eyes really bad, and I had to put an ice pack. And I had to take 3 10-milligram allergy pills. I remember because I had bought the Amazon brand. Okay, tip number 1, do not buy the Amazon brand allergy pills. They do not work. And so I remember this day clearly. It was so bad because it woke me up from my sleep of how itchy my eyes were. I still got up at 6 in the morning and I did my yoga and still felt very sleepy. Obviously, I didn't sleep very well. My head felt very heavy head space, went back to sleep until 8:40 a.m. and still felt sleepy around 10 a.m. So this day I was just very fatigued, felt very out of it. Now, this is how I felt after I had fritanga another time before. That's what I felt. I remember now. I felt that heaviness in my head. I felt super lethargic, like super sleepy, super fatigued all day long. And I couldn't quite understand why I was feeling this way. And it's something that they cook their steak in. I really just don't know. I would have to ask them. But no bueno, no bueno. Breakfast I had around 10:50 in the morning, 2 eggs and butter with ham and a small coffee, just regular black coffee. At 1:15 p.m., my bowel movements were watery and I had stomach pain. I added my essential oil Dejais, which I still really love to use. And I was just feeling tired and heavy in the head. See, all day long. This was really, really bad day. For lunch at 3 p.m., I had 3 small chicken legs. And at 5:13, I was just tired and anxious. For dinner, I had raw and cooked salmon, so like sashimi. And I did have a snack afterwards, a little bit of a sausage that had some spiciness and cheese around 10 p.m. Whoa, reading back on that, that was a rough day. That was a rough day, and I remember it. And it was one of those days that I wanted to quit carnivore because I was like, this is just obviously nothing is working, and I'm feeling worse. So just so you know, you might feel worse before you feel better. So stick to it. Stick through these hard days. Day number 10. Breakfast, 2 eggs, smoked salmon, and a half tablespoon of cream cheese. For lunch, I had bone broth and meat soup. So I added some meat to it. I had a snack, some salami and cheese, very little, and I slept better. Still a little tired. First day of Little Beats. Shout out to them. They are a canta conmigo with your kids. So you sing along with your kids. And I noticed that I didn't feel as anxious going to this place, which is that I go with my baby. And usually I would always get really, really anxious before going. So I wrote that down because I noticed that that was the first time that I did not feel anxious to go out. Dry eyes in the morning, itchy a little, still a little anxious today, but not as bad. So we're getting a little better on some days. Around 2:38 p.m., I was feeling a little sleepy. I realized later that was due to that I needed more electrolytes and I was not drinking enough water. At 3:30, I felt sleepy, like with my thyroid issues. When I found out that I had thyroid issues, I was getting that fatigue midday every day. I had a snack at 4 p.m., 5 pieces of salmon sashimi with a little bit of cream cheese. For dinner, I had 3 chicken bone-in thighs, and I did have a half a large of avocado. I remember craving it, needing it, and I told myself that when I was starting the carnivore, I would slowly transition into it and see how it went. So I was not perfect by any means. I was not perfect. I know all those hardcore carnivores are going to come at me. You are not doing carnivore. You had one day you had milk. The other day you had avocado. I had a little bit of erythritol. I am being straight up honest, raw with you here on my channel. I am not perfect. I am only human, but this was still better than the way I was eating before. So remember to keep that in mind when you're starting out and you're not perfect. It's okay. Okay. At 9:15 p.m., my bowels were soft with stomach pain. I used my Digize again and that helped. Day 11 at 6:15 a.m., soft stool. I normally don't wake up and have to run to the bathroom. That day I did. For breakfast around 9 a.m., I had 2 eggs and butter, smoked salmon, my coffee, black, small cream cheese. At 9:20, my stomach was hurting. I used Digize. Lunch, I had salmon. Around 2:30 p.m., I had anxiety. At 3:49, I was anxious and felt slight headache, neck ache. So I usually get migraine or what you want to call a tension headache. That's usually like what I get, and it comes from my neck. For dinner, I had ground beef 80/20, cheese and sour cream, a taco-less bowl, as I call it. And at night, my scalp was itchy. That's interesting. I don't remember if I ever found out exactly why or what may have triggered that. I don't think I had that very much often, but we will see as we go through these weeks that I wrote down. And day 12, I slept bad. My throat was feeling funny, so I was starting to probably catch a cold. Backstory, before I started the carnivore diet, I was always getting sick. Every month around my period, my throat would start hurting really bad and I would catch some type of cold. So this was something that was also something that I was looking out for to see if my immune built up. I woke up very tired. I did yoga, went back to sleep 7:30, almost 9 a.m., felt blurry eyes opening and so sleepy and anxious. I remember waking up and just like things were looking blurry. I just felt off. My headspace was not there. I was busy that day working with my social media clients. I had taxes in my head for one of my businesses. I had a birthday event for the family that was stressing me out because I get anxious going to places, right? And so I didn't really want to go, but it's a birthday party for the family. I felt the need that I needed to go. And then they wanted to go out to eat afterwards. And I knew that I was not going to be able to eat anything at this restaurant because I was on the carnivore diet. So just overall, not in a good mood this day. For breakfast at 1:30 p.m., 2 eggs, butter, and smoked salmon, very little cream cheese. And for dinner, ground beef and cheese, sour cream. My stomach was hurting a little around 8:20 p.m. So the afternoon headache, I took 2 ibuprofen. So it must have gotten really bad that I had to take ibuprofen. I try not to take ibuprofen if I can avoid it. I try to drink extra water. Sorry, I got really thirsty there after I was talking to you. Day 13, we're almost done with week 2. No itchy eyes. I noted no itchy eyes. Wow, 13 days of almost everyday itchy eyes. I woke up around 5:30 and fell back asleep, and I was dreaming a lot. I woke up at 8 a.m. and felt pretty good. I wrote down the dreaming because I wonder sometimes if what I eat or the activities I did the night before has to do with like your dreams. I don't know if you're into dreams. If you are, write it in the comments. If you know anything about them, write it in the comments. I'm always interested in learning and hearing about that. I did my yoga around 11:30 and I was a little anxious. I had to go to this museum for the birthday parties, and we were going to a pizza place afterwards. So I had my breakfast and my lunch. I tried to eat a big meal knowing that I was going and that I was not going to be able to eat at the pizza place, obviously. So I had 2 eggs with chorizo. I had a lot of anxiety before leaving. I remember my husband stayed with my youngest because it was a place that was just not going to be fun going with him. He was too little. And so he stayed with him. And I remember hugging my husband and just being like, I need to take a deep breath because I'm just so uncomfortable right now and I'm feeling really anxious and it's just really, really frustrating and I wanted to cry, but I went anyways. My brother came and picked me up. I remember after that, I started to feel a little bit better with my mood and my energy. And maybe it was due to after eating and having that big meal. I don't know. But I did start to feel a little sleepy around 5:30 in the afternoon. 6:40, I was hungry and I had to cook and I was feeling very sleepy. I had come back home already. I went to my brother's for the Dolphin game and ate a little bit of the pulled pork that was Cuban style. So I was a little concerned. I didn't have that much because I didn't know if they cooked it in a seed oil. And I had 2 small pieces of chicharro. That's usually fried. So I was a little worried about that being in a seed oil as well. But I was hungry while I was there. I remember that night, I didn't write it down, but I had a steak that night because I remember coming home and making steak before going to my brother's house. I don't think that I mentioned that and wrote that down here. I wrote that I was cooking and I didn't put what I ate. I do remember that it was steak. It might have been a ribeye. Day 14. Okay, the last of the 2 weeks. Day 14. My breakfast. Pinecrest Bakery was a place that we used to order breakfast all the time on the weekends with the kids. And so in the beginning of Carnivore, I still ordered from there. And I only ate the eggs that was mixed with ham, the sausage, and the bacon. For lunch, I had bone broth. God. Bone broth. And 30 minutes or so after, itchy eyes. I think this is when I finally started to link the two together and I noted it because I was like, something is up, right? So I was not feeling well. I feel cold, chills, aches, my sinuses. It was not a good day. Dinner, I had 2 chicken legs with the skin on. And for a snack, I had 1 cheese slice and a few Gouda cheese squares. At night, I felt congested on the left side and my mouth was dry throughout the night. So we're ending week 2 not on a good note. As you can see, it was a roller coaster of going through the carnivore journey for me. You will hear people say, week 1, week 2, I had all this mental clarity. I have no more anxiety. I feel great, so much more energy. And that was not the case for me. Thanks for my journal. And that just proves that sometimes our bodies take longer than others to recover, to release oxalates, to release toxins, to do what it needs to do to get fat adapted and to get used to this way of eating and to finally start healing. I still think that I'm slowly healing and I've been on this journey for almost 9 months. So this is not a quick fix, stop all your medication, feel happy, go lucky energy the next day from starting. So be patient with yourself, be patient with your body, love your mind. And I hope that week 2 gave you a little insight on how it was for me on my journey on starting the carnivore diet. And if you're interested in learning more and hearing more about week 3, the 3rd week of going into this carnivore journey, I'd be happy to share that in another podcast. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe so that you can keep up to date with everything Kristin on this nutrition journey, as I like to call it, because I do not, as much as I love the carnivore diet, I am not preaching that that's the only way to cure you. I think that definitely is a start, but I think that you need to find what works for you, and you will hear that from me all the time on my channel. Everybody is different. There's no one size fits all. So let's do this journey together. Share your journey with me in the comments, and I hope to see you soon.